There we go. Hey, everybody. Super good to see you all. And I see Nilla as well. It's been amazing to texting with you back and forth today. It's been incredible. I'm super happy to see your faces for everybody who I can see. That is always a pleasure to be able to see people's faces. And I was just reading through a message that came from one of my amazing clients who is on my program called Master Manifester Hypnosis Program. And you know who you are when I'm going to let some more people into the call. And she said that the Master Manifester Program gives her so much hope. She said that when she sees what I have created, when she sees the freedom that I live today and where I started from, she says that that just means so much to her, and it gives her so much hope that it's possible for her as well to do it, because I have done it. And it means so much to me to be able to be that inspiration for some of you who truly want to create a life where you can have freedom. Because I know how important it is. If we feel in our hearts that we are supposed to have freedom, it is so important that we have somebody who can inspire us and to show us the way. So today I'm going to go through, when I was at the gym this morning, I was counting, what are the most important steps that Jonas and I have taken in the way we're thinking and in the way we're planning our lives, so that we can live a life of freedom. Because basically we have the freedom that if we chose to, we can take off to Bali tomorrow. And that wouldn't affect anything except from us having a different location. That's the level of freedom that these steps that I will walk you through are able to help you with, or it's helped us, and I want to walk you through them. So who is excited for that? Who would like to create a life pure freedom? Amazing, wonderful. So I truly hope that I can be a super inspiration for all of you today. And I think the 5 things were super, super, super key. And then I added number 6 at the end as well as a bonus, because I know that some of you may be in the 6, in the one that I'm going to talking about in the 6th one. So that's why I added that one as well. Amazing. Wonderful. So the first thing that both Jonas and I have done, hey Camilla, välkommen. The first thing that I have done, or that Jonas and I both have done, is that we have online businesses. We don't work for anybody else. We work for ourselves. And we have both set that up so that we are coaches. Jonas, when him and I met, about, is it 6 years ago now? Or shit, yeah, I think the other day, the 2nd of December, we totally forgot to celebrate that. I remember that now. I think it was 6 years ago since we met. Anyway, every day with him feels like a celebration, so I'm just so happy and grateful. But I think it was 6 years ago since we met. And the interesting thing with Jonas when we met, oh, there are so many women joining. Amazing. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody who just joined. The amazing thing when Jonas and I met, and I started to tell him what I did, and I already helped people with hypnosis back then. And even though the techniques and everything have developed, but Helena, I was so excited in telling him about all the amazing results that hypnosis had helped me with in my life. I was totally freaking out about hypnosis in the beginning. I was like, I can't even tell anybody that I'm even looking into that, because it was so weird. But then when I started to open up and I was like, what is hypnosis really? And then I just realized that hypnosis is a way of communicating with our subconscious mind so that we can understand what's actually going on. And then I realized that we can actually use a form of hypnosis also to tap into our soul. And that led me on to the most incredible journey, which I am still on today, which is so fascinating. And Jonas, he was very open. to all of this. He was like, he is more of this like squarey personality, you know, where a person who really likes Excel, like Excel sheets. And I'm the opposite of that. Like I have dyslexia and something else where you have a little bit of difficulty with numbers. So I'm like, as soon as I start to hear numbers, my brain is like, whoo, shutting down. So we are the perfect combination there. But he is more of that square personality. But what was so amazing with him was that he was very open. He was like, do you think that you could help me to understand more of my passion? He was like, I am very blocked in my life and I don't know, like he was already making a lot of money because he's a marketing genius. He's a business genius. So he was already like, it feels like everything he touches in business, it turns into gold basically. So he was already making a lot of passive income, which was incredible. But what he told me was that something was missing. He was like, even though I'm making all this money, I feel like I don't really have a purpose. Do you think that you can help me? So on our 5th date, Jonas was super brave to ask me if we could do a session. So we did. And we figured out why he was blocked, why he couldn't really see his passion, why he couldn't see his purpose. So we figured that out, and then we reprogrammed his subconscious mind to actually understand that, yes, I am allowed to live my passion. And during that, passion and purpose. And during that session, it became very clear for Jonas that he was here to help other people, that he was here to serve, that he was here to help amazing people with something that felt close to his heart, that he was really good at. And that is how his coaching business started. It started from that first session that we did together 6 years ago. And it's been incredible to watch his journey, to really see how it all has unfolded and how he is making a lot of money from his business, and how that he has this freedom and the purpose. He's so happy for that purpose. And he came into me earlier today because he had quite many calls with people who are just like, can I work with you? Can I work with you? And so he had calls with people, and he was like, Linda, it's so amazing to speak with these people. Like, these are incredible people, and they want something in their life. They want something with their businesses. So he's a business coach. He's helping people who has already a business coaching business. No, yeah, a coaching business. So that's the people who he helps for them to scale their coaching businesses. And so Jonas, he has that kind of business. And in my business, I help women who are stuck in a job. They know that they have so much more potential, and they are sensitive, and they have these empathic skills, but they have always felt like that empathy and that heightened sensitivity, that was a burden. It was something to look down at, to be held back. And I'm helping these women, and I see some faces here on the screen right now who are clients of mine. You guys, some of you are already in my program, and some of you are right now. We're really tuning into each other and seeing, like, would you be a great fit for the program or not? Because I always want to make sure that everybody who joins the program, I want to make sure that everybody is a fantastic match, because I want to make sure that each person that goes through my program has amazing results. And that amazing result is freedom. Because that's the result of the program that I have. Because I used to be completely stuck, and I had no idea how to make money, and I had no idea that my purpose in life was to help people. I shared this in a coaching call yesterday with my clients, because we have a call each week where we go through important stuff. And one of the things that I shared in there was that in the beginning of my journey, I was 16 when somebody told me that I was meant to help people. And I was like, I'm sure it's good to help people, but it's not for me. I'm a journalist, and I'm going to interview celebrities, and I can walk over dead bodies to get where I want. That was my attitude, and I had no idea that my purpose in life was to change women's life. But now I know, because I've been through the whole process that I nowadays help my clients to go through. Sorry. So that's the result. Like, that's the number one thing that both Jonas and I, that we have set up. Coaching businesses. where we are transforming people's lives each and every day. And that feels incredible. Who would like to feel that feeling, to receive messages every single day from people telling, can we laugh? Sophia, many hands, amazing. For people every single day texting you saying like, oh my gosh, you transformed my life. My life will never be the same again because you helped me. That feels so incredible. Because yes, there are many ways to have money online. There are many ways nowadays, and they're coming up with more and more every single day. And I know that many women who find my work, they're like, I'm touching on marketing stuff, and I'm touching on affiliate market, like all these different kinds of stuff. And when I'm asking them, like, do you feel that that is your true purpose? They're like, no, not really, but I found it, and it may be potentially a good way to make money. So, and that was also a big wake-up call for me when Jonas, so I said in the beginning of this call, like, we could basically take off to Bali tomorrow if we choose to, if we want to. We don't want to right now because we love our routine and everything that we have set up right here. But we could. And that's the thing, to have the freedom to be able to actually make that choice, that you're not stuck anywhere. So when we did live in Bali, I met so many people, or we met so many people that had online businesses. But exactly like the way Jonas felt that when we met, was that they felt like, I have money coming in, but I'm missing something. They as well, like Jonas, when we met, they were missing that purpose, that fulfillment in the heart. So this is why we want, like when we want to create that lifestyle of freedom, where we can do whatever we want to, when we want to, in my opinion, that is the number one thing, to have a business, to learn. These are learnable skills. Who feels a little bit afraid of when I'm talking about having your own business? Who feels a little bit shaky about that? Like, oh, it's a bit scary. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I know that there are so many beliefs imprinted in us regarding having our own business. And sometimes that can sound so big. Oh, your own business, that's massive. But I think that also comes from what we have been trained, like from a traditional business. Having a traditional business is something completely different. The awesome thing, I'm not going to go into that actually. I have already some videos where I'm talking more about the advantages of being a master manifestor hypno coach that you can become through me, through my program. So I already have some videos on that. So if you're watching this now or later on, just let me know if you want me, I can send those to you. And then I go into more like, how is this kind of business compared to having a traditional business? Because they're completely different. Because the cool thing about a business like this is that we don't have any overheads. We don't have anything that we have to pay money to. I pay myself and I pay my team. That's it. And then I have a few software stuffs that are helping me, but I didn't have that in the beginning. This is now when my business has grown, I choose to learn, okay, how to use tools that will make everything more smooth. But that comes later on, and that is also cheap, very, very cheap. So it is incredible. And this is the step one, that if we want to have a lifestyle of complete freedom, where we can do what we want when we want to, we want to have a freedom business that allows us to be free to obviously work online. Like I thought that was really clear and obvious, but I'm just putting it out there. It needs to be an online business, right? So that's the number one thing. And if you want the videos on like the comparison, what is this kind of like the coaching business compared to like a traditional business, just let me know afterwards and I will send a link with different videos to you. So step number 2 that I wrote down. Oh yeah, actually I'm coming up with something right now that I didn't even think about writing down. Do you want to know what it is? Okay. So I see nods. Amazing. Love that. Okay. I thought about this one thing. For me, what's obvious, because the theme of the training was like how Jonas and I did this together. So I kind of just assumed that we have a partner that is also free. If we have a partner like this, because this is important, if we have a partner right now that doesn't appreciate freedom, that doesn't want to change together with us, then we're standing in front of something new. And I know that that is very common. Many women who come to me and who find my work, they may be stuck in a relationship where the partner is not that supportive and the partner maybe doesn't actually want the same things. That's how it was for me. I've been divorced. So I know I look very young, but I was in a relationship for 10 years and I was married for 5 of those years. And then I met Jonas 6 years ago. So, but I thought him and I had the same dreams and visions and dedication. I think I'm going to like put emphasis on the word dedication, because I figured out later on that when my life started to really become more and more free, when I started when I had my training and I could start to help people and I started to understand like, oh shit, I have so much power in creating my own freedom. It really felt like our relationship started to shift a little bit. I felt like he was not ready to take those kind of same steps like I wanted. And this is when I had to ask myself, what is most important for me? Is it to stay? Like, I am so grateful. I know Lena Kay and I spoke about this before, and Lena, because Lena has been in my world for many years now, and I'm so grateful. We actually found each other. So when Jonas and I had just moved to Thailand, that's when you found my work, Lena. And I remember the first time we ever spoke. That was an incredible conversation. And then to see your journey after that has been absolutely magical. And now you are in the Master Manifestor coaching program and learning all these techniques yourself, which is so fantastic. But anyway, so Lena said it. She was like, I never heard you say anything bad about your ex-husband. She was like, I can really feel that you appreciate him so much. And I do, because I know that that relationship that I had with him was so important for the woman that I needed to become in order to have the life that I have today. So I didn't know that I was going to talk about this, but I just felt, I don't know if any of you were thinking about the whole relationship thing, but it is an important part. Like when we are realizing that we are capable of actually starting to create a life that we have been dreaming about since we were little girls, then we will probably have to look at our relationships. And sometimes it is the closest, the loving relationship. And sometimes the other person is willing to do the freedom journey together with us. And sometimes the other person is not. And then it's going to be up to us. Because I know that one of my clients, my current client, she was very afraid. She was like, but Linda, if I'm doing this program, it doesn't mean that I have to break up with my family and that I can't have them in my life anymore. And I was like, no, of course not. Because she had heard other people say that. Other coaches or mentors had told her, like, you have to let go of the people around you, close to you, when you are developing yourself. And I said, no, that is not true at all. All of that will be shown to us, and it's going to be our decision. In my case, and I was afraid actually to talk about the divorce in the beginning, because I was afraid of scaring people off. I was afraid that if I share my journey, will other people be afraid of actually going after their freedom? But then I realized, no, that my story is so important, because it's some of you that needs exactly that story. And that story is going to transform some of your lives. So that's why I'm very open and transparent with my journey. And I'm not letting fear or what anybody, if I'm going to scare anybody, I just know like, that's everyone's path. So no, we don't have to let go of anybody. And in my case, I just came to a point where it felt like my ex-husband has been such a great person in my life. And I even saw in a session, because I took help with this from one of my colleagues back then, and I asked, like, can you help me to understand the soul contract that I have with my ex-husband? And I was shown very clearly that he came into my life where I was pretty young, but like at 21 or 22, I had given up on relationships already at that age. I didn't believe that a relationship could be healthy, because I had just seen like everybody's just divorcing and people are not treating each other so nicely and stuff like that. So I didn't have very high hopes when it came to relationships. And then he came into my life and he was such a nice and loving person. So what I was shown in that session was that he came into my life to kind of just hold me and we could grow together. And I could grow into the strong person that I needed to become to actually realize that I could do my own training, like when I became a hypnotherapist. So he kind of walked me on that path until the training, when I did the training and I started to understand my power, because that's also when I started to tap into my soul's gifts, which is also something that I teach in my program to all the women who are in the program, because that's so important that we start to understand, like, what are the gifts that our soul has incarnated with as well. And then it came to a point where I grew so strong in myself and I could start to really appreciate myself so much. I was like, it really felt like I had grown out of the relationship. And it was a point where I was like, oh, I have a choice now. Do I choose to stay or do I choose to go on? And that was one of the scariest decisions that I've ever made in my life. But that was a needed decision. I knew in my heart that that was the right thing to do for me. And that's how Jonas could come in my life as well. So that's one thing, like, when we want to have the freedom life, it is amazing if we also can attract a partner who is having the same visions, who truly want that same kind of freedom as ourselves. So was that helpful for anybody? To see, like, we don't have to leave anything. It's always going to be up to us. But if we can create the freedom together with a partner, that's the most amazing thing. And I'm so grateful every single day. And both Jonas and I are saying that to each other every single day. Like, we're so grateful for each other, because we also understand how rare it is. But I want to make it more common. I want to help all of you who are watching this right now. And I think that this was the reason why all of this came out, that I needed to tell you this, because I want you to understand that it is possible to attract a partner that is in alignment with your values, with the freedom that you want to create in your life. That is possible. They are out there. When I used to work with men, so nowadays I only work with women because I work in a group setting. So it's like we're creating this sacred environment where there are only women and everybody has this like sensitivity. It's just amazing. And everybody supports each other and it's incredible. I'm so proud of the whole environment. But I used to work with men. So I also know that there are so many incredible men out there for everybody who's doubting. So I know that there are amazing men out there for anybody who in the future want to go look for a partner who wants freedom. There are men out there who wants freedom. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, the next thing. So that was like a bonus thing that I didn't know. So let's say we have talked about the number one, which is create an online business. And then number two, it is avoid lifestyle inflation. And this was a concept that I was introduced to not long ago. Jonas and I had already been living after it, but we never heard a name for it. But what does it mean? Like, when people are starting to make good money, do you know what tends to happen? Their expenses tends to go up a lot. People who are starting to earn more money, many times they're buying a bigger house or renting a bigger apartment. They are getting a bigger car, a better car, and all of a sudden they're broke again, but at a new level. It's just that they have nicer things, basically, because now, like, every single month, there's so much money going out. So we have been because both Jonas and I are very open, like we like to talk about money, and I'm realizing more and more like that is one of my big purposes to understand that money is a good thing. We need to be proud of money, and if we want to have more money in our lives, we need to talk nicely to money, and we need to be very grateful for money. So I talk to my money a lot. I go into my bank account and I bless my money, which is just awesome. So but we have many friends when we have been talking to them about money, and they have been very kindly and openly sharing that they don't have so much money left every month because their expenses, the more they started to earn, the more they started to spend on monthly costs. So that's the lifestyle inflation when we start to increase the spendings as our income goes up. So we want to avoid that. So physical examples of how Jonas and I have avoid the lifestyle inflation is that we are making sure that we want to have as low, compared to our income, we want to have as low monthly expenses as we can. We still want to have our standard of living, a standard that we like, a standard that feel like shortest to us. So one thing that we knew was that we really wanted to have an apartment in the middle of Stockholm city. But we wanted to have this apartment under a certain amount of rent every month. So that was like, over this, not okay. Under this, perfect. So that was important to know. So we have on living, low expenses. And I have a whole other video somewhere. Oh, I think that is in the training, probably in the Master Manifestor training, how this whole manifestation of this apartment came about, because that in itself is absolutely incredible. So it's just amazing, like when we know exactly what we're looking for and when we are programming ourselves and when we're opening up to the possibilities, then so many amazing things can come into our reality. And this apartment is a pure result of that. If anybody wants me to do a new video in the free Facebook group of how we manifested this apartment, let me know later on, and I will do that as well. So this doesn't also mean that we should not go out and spend things or spend money on things that we like. Of course, we should use our money, but we are very intentional. So the lifestyle inflation is more like, as we increase the income, we also increase the expenses. That's what we don't want. But it doesn't, like, if I want to go out and buy a designer bag, I do that, which is incredible. Like, I have that possibility in my life because of my business. Does this make sense? So it's just that we don't want the monthly expenses that we have every single month, the fixed cost. We want them as low as humanly possible compared to the income we are bringing in. So I see nodding faces, amazing. And this also allows us the freedom. Like I said, if we want to go to Bali tomorrow, in this apartment, it's actually a private landlord. And he said in the beginning, he was like, because he already figured out that we had been out traveling a lot from our previous landlord. So he was like, if you're planning to rent your apartment out, I'm going to kick you out on the street. So he was very clear that we are not allowed to rent this apartment out. So we knew this from the first beginning. So for us, we were also super, like, this was even more important that the rent were low enough so that we can keep this apartment even if we go to Bali. Does this make sense? So for us, it's not even that we have to rent this apartment out. And this is why we can travel tomorrow if we want to. If we had a higher cost of living and if we had a different landlord, then we may have wanted to rent that house or apartment out, which many people, that's a smart thing to do, obviously, if you have that opportunity. But then maybe you can't really go tomorrow because then you will have to find somebody who will rent it and stuff like that. That's how we did it when we lived in Bali before. So then you just got to find somebody who can actually rent your place. So that's a little bit of a longer process. So that probably means you can't go tomorrow, but you will still be able to go in like maybe 2 months or something. Does that make sense? Yep, fantastic. So the next thing was to always increase your income. This is something, when I was in network marketing many years ago, many of you have heard that story. Like, that was my first attempt to build a business. It didn't work so well. But I'm glad for many of the lessons that I learned. And one of the lessons that I learned from people who were on the stages speaking, they imprinted this in my head, was that this is going to sound like a little bit contradictory to what I said before, but they were like, do not hold back on your spending, instead focus on raising your income. And I agree with that. So it's not like when I'm talking about the lifestyle inflation, I just mean be very conscious, keep it as low as possible, what you spend every single month. But this thing about increasing the income so that you don't have to hold back on the expenses is just giving you a choice. So they imprinted that in my head, and I'm very glad for that. And I'm realizing also, we had a conversation with somebody in our co-working space, and he helped me to have a really cool realization. And we talked about my mom, because my mom is very good at saving and not wasting stuff. And she often says like, oh, it's wasteful to eat lunch in a restaurant every single day. It's better to like prepare a lunchbox and stuff like that. So I said this to our friend who makes a lot of money. And he was like, what generation is your mom? And I told what generation she's in. And then he was like, so did she have the same kind of job her whole life? And I was like, yep, she did. Or yeah, now she's a pensioner, so she doesn't work anymore. So he was like, yeah, Linda, this is the thing. Because he was also super interested in talking about money with me, because I told him like, I am working on just expanding my money mindset. I'm like, I'm going to be super wealthy in this lifetime, and I'm building my incredible lifestyle at this moment. So he was super happy to talk to me about money. And this is what he said. He was like, in the old generation, or the generation that was before us, they were trained to go to a job and to be in that same kind of job for many years, maybe their whole life. And maybe if they were lucky, like they got a little bit of a raise each year. I don't even know how it works, because I never really worked for anybody. So I don't really know how it works. But I think that you do get a raise like maybe once a year or something like that. So this is what my friend explained to me. And he was like, well, then it's not strange that your mom felt like, if you're buying lunch every single day, that's going to take a big portion of your income, if you have a fixed income. And he was like, but in your case, he was talking about me. So he was like, in your case, you have a business and you can decide how much you make. And therefore, if you're choosing to have the lunch, it doesn't really matter, because it's not a fixed expense. You can make the choice every single day. Do I prioritize this or not? So it's not going to be like the same expense every single month. You can make the choice, and you just have to focus on making more, increase your income. And I was like, oh, that's so true. Increasing the income all the time. And this is what we have the possibility to do when we own our own businesses. And we can do this in so many extraordinary ways. And I was speaking to one of my amazing clients, also, I think it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. And she just started to package her. So she's training to become a master manifestor hypno coach. And then in the training, I have a way of packaging the service. So it was like, this is how we package our service. This is what we offer to people. And this is what we charge. This is what we start by charging. And then we're working ourselves up from there when we're getting more and more comfortable. And she was like, Linda, I've calculated on this now, and I'm realizing that I can make 168,000 SEK a month. And she was just amazed by the possibilities. And I was explaining to her, I was like, yeah, and that's just calculated on the low price. That's where you're starting. This is how much potential it is when we are changing the money beliefs. Last week, I did a training on the 5, I think, or was it 7? Can't remember. Biggest money shifts that we need to make in order to actually increase our income. So if you want to watch that, let me know, and don't let me know here, but let me know in Facebook, please, in Messenger, and then I can send it to you. So that's the thing, like focusing on increasing the income. And was this number 3? I think so. Oh my God. It's so interesting. Like when we are interested in what we're talking about, I can go on for hours. And this is like when Jonas and I are talking about this stuff as well. Like for those of you who have seen us two together on video, it's like we can go on for like 3 hours, no problem. Until I realized I have to go and pee, because then it's becoming like urgent. But anyway, we can. I see Camilla, you're laughing. I have a super funny story about that as well, that some of you guys know, but I'm not going to go into that now. And then I had written down like online programs instead of one-on-one and group coaching. So this is later on, but is it okay if I'm just expanding your vision a little bit? All right. So the first thing is to actually become a coach and to understand, like, how do I charge for my service and how do I set all of this up? And you have all of that in the Master Manifestor program. So I've taken all the guesswork. Like, this is the kind of steps that I wish that I had when I started out. It would have saved me years, like years. Because I see now my clients after like 2.5 months, they're starting to do things in their businesses, which is like after 2.5 months, and they were completely green when they came into my program. So this is so incredible. So when we have put that in place, when we have learned, like, how do we give clients incredible results? People are texting us like, you changed my life and I'm so happy. They're giving us testimonials, videos, and like, it's just overflowing of gratitude from people. Then we know that we can probably start to move on to the next step, which could be, if that is something that interests us, this is how I have set it up. So I started out by working one-on-one with clients. But then I had so many clients because of everything I learned, like from Jonas and my boyfriend, in how to do marketing. So he's the marketing genius, as I already told you. So everything I learned from him, and I started to have so many clients, and I was like, I can't cope with this. I'm going to burn out. So I felt that I lost a little bit of the passion in actually having sessions with people because it became too much. And that's a luxurious problem. When we're coming to that point, that's luxury. Most coaches and therapists, they never come to that point because they don't know the marketing side. So when you're coming to that point, you know you're doing things very well. So that's when I started to, because Jonas asked me then, he was like, do you get kind of the same questions from people? Do people ask you kind of the same things between the sessions? So I don't work with talking therapy. That's super slow. Like, it takes years, and I want to transform people's lives fast. So the sessions are maximum 90 minutes, and we are having a massive transformation in 90 minutes with the hypnosis in the way I train my clients to help their clients. But between the sessions, I realized that people were having kind of the same questions. They were like, I'm starting to feel tired. Is this normal? And I'm like, yes, this is super normal. And then I made him a long thing about how normal it was. And then I realized, like, I'm doing the same thing for everybody. So Jonas were like, can you systematize this? Can you maybe put this in a course? And I was like, oh, a course sounds amazing, but I had no idea how to do it. So I set my intention when we moved to Thailand and then to Bali. So I was like, I really would like to produce a course, but I didn't know how to do it. But then it just came to me one day. And I was like, I'm going to start with a course. So that course actually still exists. It's called How to Become Comfortable in Front of the Camera, because I was like, the people I work with, but I didn't know how awesome all of this was going to get. So this is about guidance as well. Like, the more we can tune into the guidance and take action on how, like, our soul knows how to do things. So the first course I created was a course called How to Get Comfortable in Front of the Camera. The next course I created was How to Create Your Own Website Without Stress and Calmness. And then the Master Manifestor program came through, which was like, how do you become a master manifestor? How can you manifest a life that you absolutely love, where you feel passion when you wake up in the morning, where you don't want to go to bed because you love your life so much? So that's the Master Manifestor program. And then in the end of the Master Manifestor program, I realized, oh shit, the people who go through the Master Manifestor program, they are going to want to help other people, because that is what I saw all the time, that the people who had so much amazing results, they were like, I really want to give back. So they wanted to become coaches. And this was before I knew that I was going to help them to become hypno coaches. So they went on and I did their trainings in different coaching modalities and stuff like that. And then they came back to me and they were like, Linda, what do I do now? And I was like, you need a course on how to be comfortable in front of the camera, because people need to see your energy. And then you need to put together, like, now we don't really teach to make a website. We don't really need a website anymore. But back like 5 years ago, I would still recommend people to have a website. I don't recommend that anymore. But that's a topic for a different talk. But anyway, I started to see like how much sense everything just made when I trusted, like, this is exactly the course that I'm going to do now. And then I put it all together, because the 2 first courses, they were like mini courses, small. They were transformative, but they were small compared to the Master Manifestor, because the Master Manifestor is a bigger program and it is incredible. And I know that the women who have gone through it, and also the men who went through it before, when they were allowed in the program, everybody was so happy with it. And that's actually nowadays the core of my offer nowadays. It's the Master Manifestor program that I created 4 years ago or 5 years ago, which is so incredible. So I wouldn't really call it a passive income, because it's still like, I'm out here, I'm promoting it and I'm talking about it, and I need to sell it, obviously. So it's not like passive, but all of my amazing clients, they can go through the modules when I am asleep or when I'm in a sun chair sipping Prosecco. So that's the awesomeness. But all of that came from me first starting to work with clients. We need to gain the knowledge, and I needed to understand exactly what is it that my people need. And then the Master Manifestor program, it has developed a lot since I first did it. So all the core that I made in Bali is there. That's incredible in itself. But then I realized that almost everybody, they wanted the freedom like I have. So they were like, how can I do similar things that you do? And this is when I realized that actually, since I have developed my own techniques on how to help people fast and amazingly, I can teach that to my clients. So this is when I added a full section that some of you are going through right now in the program. I added a full section to it on how to start your own soul schooling business and how to help people with the Master Manifestor hypnosis technique. So that's the part that I'm working on now. It is very soon done. But I'm always like a few steps ahead to my clients. So, and when they're saying, like, I received a question from Helena today, you're on the call now, you were like, Linda, do we have access to this? And I'm like, I'm not really sure, but I will make it for you otherwise. So it's like, it's this amazingness between me and the amazing people that are going through the program. So they are showing me exactly what they need, and I produce that, and then we're putting it all together. So as soon as I'm done now creating like the end of the Master Manifestor, like the whole coaching part of it, becoming a soul-based coach, hypno coach, then I can leave that part alone, because everybody can just go through it in their own tempo. So I don't need to be there. But as I said, I just want to expand the vision for all of you, what is actually possible. So we don't start with creating an online course. The online courses, they come after we get to fully and truly know the people that we want to serve. Because each one of you, the reason why you're drawn to my work is because your soul, you feel something. You feel something when you hear me speak. You feel like, yay, I see so many hands. You feel that. And that is because you're drawn. You're drawn to all of this. Your soul is like, yep, I'm here. I'm showing up. And I know that I'm supposed to help people. So we need, first of all, to figure out who are you here to help. And then you start to help them with one-on-ones. And then you create the online products later on. So that was the fourth step. And the fifth one is to hire a team. And this is also like to see what is possible in the future. We don't need a team in the beginning. This is later on. Just want to make that super clear. But this is the part where I am at right now. I am talking to some of the clients that I have that really know my vision. And I know that they're amazing to work with already because they already have gone through my program and they are already, they're already clients and they understand all of this. So I'm looking at right now to hire some of them to my team, to become a part of my team for my business to grow. So at the same time, when these amazing women are building their own businesses, some of them are going to be with my team as well. And that's really incredible how we can have a vision that is beyond ourselves. It's so much bigger. And all of this is possible through that online business. So the sixth one I wrote down because I know that some of you may have children and you're going to be like, yeah, but when you have kids, you can't really go to Bali tomorrow. So I wanted to mention that one as well. So for me, it's always been a belief that when you have kids, you're going to be stuck. So for me in Bali, it was super important that I got to meet incredible parents. And I was like, how long are you here for? And they were like, we just moved here. And I was like, oh, that's incredible. How does that work? I started to talk with people who had the freedom as families. And then I was like, is that even legal if you're Swedish? No, not really. You can't really take your kids out of school. It's like super many laws. But then I was like, when we are coming into that position, so we are planning to become parents, and this is why it's so important for both of us to hire an amazing team. So all this stuff that is taking up a lot of my time and energy right now, this is why I'm hiring my team, so that they can help me with this bits and pieces, so that I can do the one thing that I am the best at, which is showing up like this. This is my favorite part, like talking to amazing people, both people I know and people that I will get to know very soon. And just like, this fuels me so much and I love it. And this is the market. So this is a part of the marketing, like showing up in my kitchen. That's a part of my job. And it is incredible. And it makes me so excited. So I am sweaty because I'm so excited. So this is what we can do. Like so back to talking about both the number 5 and the number 6, like when Jonas and I are becoming parents, we want to have an incredible team that we feel super safe with, that they know how to chat with new potential clients. They know how to be helping clients who are in the program. So one of the roles that I'm gonna put somebody on is a client success manager. So that is what I will be taking on. Somebody who can really be there, who has been through my program, who has amazing results from the program. I'm not really sure who's going to be yet, but that person is going to help clients who are going through the program. So it's like so incredible, the opportunities that we have when we have the one thing that I mentioned first in place, which is our online coaching business. It starts with that one, and then there's so much we can expand from that. And then going back, so for both Jonas and I, it's always been since day one when we first met, we have had this conversation that it's so important for us to have freedom when we have children. Since I was 3 years old and when I was put into daycare, I hated it so much, but my parents didn't have another choice because of money. They had to go to work, like most people have to go to work. So I decided at 3 years old, I was like, my kids are never going to have it like that because I never fitted in. So there's nothing wrong with a daycare, but for me, it wasn't right. It was never right for me because I felt so different. I'm super sensitive. And all the other kids were like screaming and just like doing things. And I was like, I don't want to be with them. I didn't understand them. And the teachers didn't understand me. And I was like, what can I do to just make the time pass? That's what I felt when I was a little kid. And that's not how a kid's life should feel, I believe. So I never wanted that for my own kids. So it's always been a drive for me to have freedom. And it's so incredible. Like every single day now, I feel I'm getting more and more ready to become a mom, which is just so incredible. And it's kind of giving me tears because I've worked for this so much my whole life. And I even went through infertility because with my ex-husband, because I knew that that was not the life I wanted when I became a mom. I didn't have my freedom. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time. And I knew that I will feel dead if my kids arrive in his life. And I'm just so grateful that my kids that I'm communicating with their spirits. I'm so glad that they knew the contracts that we have, that we are supposed to inspire so many other future parents. And also people who are already parents, we are supposed to together inspire people to see what is possible. We don't need to live in this little square. We have so much more power than what we may have believed. And it's really time to shift. It's really time now to step into that greatness. And I was talking to someone else of you. I see that you're here on the call, and I was talking to you today, and this amazing woman, she said, I feel so afraid of if I would join the program, and what if I don't succeed? Because we have been through so much stuff in our life where we felt like a failure. We have been trained, like our subconscious mind is just trained like, what if I fail? And what if everybody sees that I'm failing? My promise to all of you is that if we feel like a great fit, and if I say that I allow you into the program, and you are dedicated to do the program, there is no such a thing as failing. It's freaking impossible. That's the power. If you can hold my hand, if you can trust that, oh, Linda, she has been through this, and she's been through this with so many people, she can guide me, I will be able to guide you. Because every single thing I teach you is what I have gone through. So the one more thing that I wanted to add about the children thing, what that I learned after also watching so many people. So this is the thing. If we want to have something that we don't yet have, and if we don't know people who have that result, like for me, I didn't know any parents who had freedom, except from the people we later on got to know in Bali. So those were really my first inspiration. I was like, okay, amazing. But they were from Australia, so they had a little bit different, like they are allowed to just move countries and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, what can I do? So I started to do YouTube, families that are free with their kids. And I saw that there were so many families just taking their kids out of school, and they were like, we're going to homeschool our kids, and we're going to travel together as a family around the world. And there was another YouTube channel. Their kids are younger, so they have not started school yet, I think, but they are on a sailing boat. And they're sailing around the world. They have an amazing YouTube channel. So I started to really expand my thinking when it came to this whole children and freedom thing. Because not only did I want to have time and money together with my kids, I also wanted to be able to take off tomorrow if I choose to. And what I realized is that we can actually think outside this little squareness. So if it is not allowed in Sweden, which I think is not right now, it's not allowed to homeschool our kids. If we would choose to do that, we can just sign out of Sweden. Problem solved. And we go to another country and we become members of that country. So I just wanted to kind of add that little bonus thing in. We don't have kids yet, but we're talking about like all these possibilities, because I just want you to know we don't have to be stuck. Just because somebody told us like this is the way we do things in Sweden, or this is the way we do things in Portugal, whatever, go somewhere else. I'm watching an incredible guy on YouTube. Like I'm always expanding, I always want to expand. I'm watching this incredible guy on YouTube. So he's helping 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs. So people who are making a lot of money. He is helping them to go where they're treated the best. That's his motto. He's like, if you are not treated good in America, go to Portugal. If you're not treated good there, go somewhere else. It's like the world is your playground. We have that freedom when we're building our own businesses. You don't have to be stuck anywhere. You have so much freedom. And the journey to that freedom can be so fast. Somebody who started my program not long ago, she was like, Linda, I would like to hear your thinking about this, because I feel incredibly stuck in my job right now, and I feel that my job is draining me. And she had heard me talk about, like, the more high vibe you can have, the better it is, because it's going to be just awesome way of living. And she was like, my job is really draining me. What do you think I should do? And I was like, if you for a little bit can kind of cope with that job. So I just recorded that and I put it into training for everybody to watch. So I was like, if you can just cope with that job for a little bit and just be like, if you can see it with gratitude, like, thank you for the money coming in, and then commit yourself to do this training, you are going to be done having clients within 90 days. And then it's just a question of expanding it from there. One other of my clients today, she said, I realized that in order to quit my job, I need to sell 2 packages, coaching packages or hypnocoaching packages per month. 2. That's nothing. And that is what it would take for her to quit her job. It is because we are in the program. There's been a belief around so many light workers that we can't charge for our services. And one part of my mission is to fully change that. We are charging for the transformation that people are receiving. And it is a massive, fat, life-changing transformation. And we're charging for that. And people love to pay us. And they're happy to pay us because they're getting so much value. So they are paying us and they're texting us. Thank you for changing my life. And this is the exchange that we want to have, so that we as helpers can take care of ourselves, to have a good life where we can be on the beach or play with our kids or whatever it is that we want to be doing, and know that we are transforming people's lives at the same time. Amazing. Was this helpful for anybody? Wonderful. I see thumbs ups and I see nodding faces. I love that. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And if anybody wants any of the links that I told you about, or if you're curious, like, could this possibly work for me? Like, could I be a potential person for all of this that you just heard me talk about? Send me a message on Facebook and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Send you so much love. Bye, everybody. Bye, bye, bye.